This Sunday, I don't want to say this Sunday is a letdown. I mean, last Sunday we had joy, we had music, we had songs, we had tostadas. We have tamales this week, but we had tostadas last week. There was so much happening, and then you get to this Sunday, and it's the last Sunday before Christmas, and there's like, you're kind of exhausted, but you're getting ready for Christmas. We're kind of in this weird middle place, and then you read the readings, and you hope there's going to be something uplifting and something joy-filled, and then you go, oh, there's not really either. And it's a reminder that this fourth Sunday of Advent is again refocusing our attention one more time before we get to the end of our Advent journey. It's focusing our attention that we're still not there. See, like last week I said, don't worry if you're a wilderness space, if you're a desert, if you feel like nothing is growing in you, God can grow something. We say, yes, God can grow something. But then you go, but I'm still a desert right now. I haven't seen the flower right now. I haven't seen the blossoming yet. It's still dark. I haven't seen the sunrise yet. So this Sunday is a reminder that until we get where we're going, God has given us a word, and that word is enough. Now that's easy to say until you start thinking about life. Right? It's easy to say until you start thinking about the situations that people either face on a large scale, like King Ahaz, or in a kind of intimate domestic situation, like Mary and Joseph and that whole, she's pregnant, but I haven't slept with her. So in both of those situations, we have this idea that God is going to speak a word into that, and will that be enough? Now I know that if you're a fan of The Crown, or Game of Thrones, or Lord of the Rings, or whatever, that you just love all the details about monarchies, especially the biblical monarchies. Like, so when I say King Ahaz, you all say, I know all about him and what he did. Right? You guys know that? Everyone knows King Ahaz and what he did? So his full name is Jehoahaz. So all right, we'll just call him Ahaz. And this guy gets to be the king, and right when he is coronated, right when he ascends to the throne, he's facing a major international policy problem. And that policy problem is the two neighbors to the north have made an alliance, and he has to decide if he joins the alliance or whether they're going to turn against him. And this is like real-world stuff. It's commonsensical stuff. You can imagine his advisors go, Ahaz, look, it's very easy. We're one, they're two. On the other side of them is this major monstrosity of a kingdom called the Assyrians. They're like the Soviet Union. They're like the Nazis. These are some bad dudes, and they're really powerful. And so we're not going to make it on our own. So just pick, who are you going to ally yourself with? And this seems like a fair alliance. And then the prophet comes in. So this guy's like a brand new king. He's facing this major international policy problem. And then the prophet comes in and goes, I have a word from God. And he goes, oh, thank God, just in time. You have a word from God. God says, do nothing. Make no alliances, because God will make sure you're okay. And they're like, that's the word? No, we're supposed to pick which foreign alliance. We don't have a choice. This is realpolitik. It doesn't matter the morality of the choice or the difficulty of the choice. You make a real-world, common-sensical, rational choice because you are the king, and kings make hard choices. And the prophet goes, no, seriously. Test God. That was in what Mike read. Test God. Good. God wants you to test him so he can verify that, in fact, his word to you will be enough. If you make an alliance, it's going to mess up everything. And this becomes an important little pausing point for us, that when we're making difficult decisions in life, when we're making difficult decisions, we have to ask ourselves, how does the word God give to us help us navigate what appears to be an impossible choice? Is God part of the inventory, or is the word part of the inventory of what we're considering? And so he says, test me, please. And then this is where like Ahaz goes, no, I'm not going to test God. And on one hand you go, well, it's because he's religious and he doesn't want to be irreligious. I think he doesn't want to test God because he doesn't want to find out that that's exactly what he's supposed to do, that God's sign will confirm, don't make an alliance with anyone, you will be okay because you have me and my word. And so he goes, no thank you, don't need a sign, don't need verification. And what he doesn't realize is this is a decision with generational implications. So it's one thing to go, well, we had dinner last night and it wasn't very good, we won't go there again. So tonight we'll go over here and have dinner here. That was a short-lived decision and it's changed the next day. Ahaz is dealing with generationally important decisions. What I do will affect my kids and my grandkids and the people after them. So what he does is he actually makes an alliance with the Assyrians. He goes, I'm going to be a clever king. I'm going to make an alliance with the big guys, go around the two of you. They'll get destroyed, and then I will preserve my kingdom, but I'll have to be an Assyrian like acolyte. I'm going to have to change my worship, bring in a few Assyrian things, change some of the Bible, whatever. The Assyrians don't ask for much, but it comes with a price. It's like dealing with the mafia. They'll help you, but they'll want something in return. And he makes that choice. And this is the problem. See, the Bible isn't a disinterested history book when the Bible's telling its story of history. The Bible's not like Stephen Ambrose trying to write about the Civil War or World War II. The Bible is interested in the history or lack thereof of fidelity to this word. So when the Bible tells the story of Ahaz in another place, it says he was a bad king. You know, how is he a bad king? He saved his kingdom. He allied himself with the stronger power. It seemed he made a decent, hard, real-world choice. And they go, no, he was a bad king because he wasn't faithful to what this word could do for him in his life and for his people. This word that God was bringing was going to be enough, not just for the king, but for the people. And you'll notice when he goes, no, thank you, I don't need a sign, God goes, oh yeah, well, here's a sign anyhow. I'm going to give you a sign, and the sign's going to be a child born to a virgin who will be called God is with us. Because I think that's one reason we get a little gun-shy, trusting the promise, is we're not really sure God's with us, or even if God is with us in a vague sense, we're not sure it has any cash value. Well, I know God's with us, but the Syrians are up there, and they have a lot more bad things than God. And the prophet says, no, trust. So this is the Sunday of trust. For those who are still sitting in the dark and have not seen the light, for those who are sitting in the desert and have not seen the blossoming, it is a Sunday to remind you that God has given you a word, God is with you, and that will be enough to keep you going. Now, that's very few of you, I don't think, are going to make foreign policy decisions for the United States, unless you're into stuff we don't know about. And I guess if you are, you can't tell us. But maybe the next story, that story of Joseph and Mary, is more familiar because it's domestic. It's in somebody's house. And you can imagine, I mean, Joseph's friends are like, bro, she cheated on you. Of course she cheated on you. You know how this works. Oh, I know. Bro, you got to cut her off. You got to get rid of her. You know what I'd do if that was me, Joseph? I'd be done with her. I'd be done with her whole family, and I go, I know. You know, like, it's the same real-world problem. And it's interesting that God sends under a sign of infidelity. By all appearances, it's a situation of infidelity. And in fact, in this sign of infidelity, both Mary, Joseph, and God have to prove themselves faithful. That's the surprising thing of this story. It appears to be that someone's cheated, that she's pregnant. I mean, imagine going on your honeymoon and going, why are you... What? How'd that happen? And so Joseph's struggling. I mean, imagine what that guy's night was like. If you've ever had a difficult night, maybe you've been cheated on, maybe you've had a hard decision to make, and you can't sleep, and you're staying up, and you're rolling around in your bed, and you go, I don't know what to do, and then you finally decide, it's the hard choice, but I got to let her go, says Joseph. And the interesting thing about the story is the angel doesn't come till after he makes his choice. Like, I think God was waiting, going, well, let's see which way he goes. Joseph had a choice, what to do with this word planted in the womb of Mary. What is Joseph going to do with that? And when he decides, you know what, my friend was right, we're going to let her go, he falls asleep, and then the angel comes. And it's not that God makes him do it, but God can be very persuasive, going, don't let her go. Now, Joseph still has a choice, but Joseph takes this word now planted in his heart, and he lets that word become a light in his darkness, And he's still going to be critiqued by his friends. He's still going to be made fun of by his family. All of the consequences that he was hoping to avoid by extricating himself from the shame, he will now bear, but he'll do it with this word in his heart. Trusting in the word, being faithful to a God who is faithful to us, doesn't make things are going to be easier. It's not a magic wand. It's not going, well, you've chosen this way of life, now it's easier. Joseph chose the harder way, trusting that this word was a word that was going to heal and make the world whole. And not just Joseph, but Mary too. Mary has to bear all that in a personal way. Joseph had the option to walk away from it. Mary can't walk away from it. The word is growing in her womb. And in a sense then, she knows, because she was there the whole time, how it worked, but she can feel this life growing in her. And so we might say this Sunday is the Sunday of the pregnant Mary. It is the Sunday where life is almost out, almost here, but it's secretly growing inside. So if you need, if you had a picture on your wall, this could be the Sunday of the Virgin Mary, pregnant, full of life. And it's really a Sunday of motherhood, and then also a consenting to a special kind of fatherhood by Joseph. And so they have to ask themselves if this word will allow them to keep on the path that they've chosen for themselves, in this case, their marriage. And we might say that for us, in 2019, we have to ask how this word can encourage us in the long obligations that we've committed ourselves to, whether it's in our marriage or with children or with faith or whatever. And it doesn't, see, the thing here isn't, now this word will take you and make you faithful. We're still unfaithful. We're still like Ahaz. We're still out there going, well, today I'm like this, tomorrow I'm like that. But God has given us a child whose faithfulness is for us. God has given us a child who will be the faithful partner who can live fully into trust that we could not be as human beings. And so we participate in that, we share in that, we get united to that, but that's what becomes our salvation. Mary is not going to save herself. Joseph's not going to save herself. It's the word that's given to them that becomes this special gift to keep them along the way. And you really have to ask yourself, is it enough? Is it really enough for Ahaz dealing with a complicated international, foreign policy, war policy situation for God to say, don't worry, I've given you a word? Is it really enough? For Joseph and Mary, as they begin their marriage under a cloud of suspicion that in fact there's infidelity, that the child is not his child, that they have all of these rumors and gossip and everything about it, all of these people's opinions about what they should do with their marriage, is it really enough? And that's the question for Christmas. And it's the answer of Christmas as well, that when we look at the world as it is, and as we look at the world as it should be, the child in the arms of Mary is God's answer to everything. It is the Word who is enough. And so as we make major decisions in our lives, as we deal with brokenness and faith that's been broken in our lives, as we navigate and move ahead with difficult situations, we have Emmanuel, God with us, to see us on the way and to know that we will end up where we should be with God forever. Amen.